So good morning, and thanks a million for joining me on the yoga mat this morning. This week's focus is on grounding. Um, Often at this time of year, we tend to be kind of running around the place, chasing our tails, trying to catch up with everybody, trying to do everything. And sometimes we actually just need to stop and rest and kind of reset. So grounding doesn't mean just sitting on the ground. It's kind of poses that we're going to use to kind of bring a little bit of calm to the body, but it will still be an active sequence that we'll be using. But it's all about kind of resetting our kind of fight or flight system. So kind of, working a little bit into the vagus nerve there as well. So just kind of really bringing a little bit of calm and restoration into the body, but through movement. So we're going to start in a nice, easy cross-legged seat, sitting as comfortably as we can. Again, cross-legged isn't easy for you. Feel free to take any other seat that is. We're going to melt the shoulders back and just try to create a little bit of heart space here. And we're going to press the hands into the legs and see if we can grow the spine a little bit taller. So just finding that space into the body. Noticing if we're holding the breath, notice if it's caught up in the chest, and just see if we can sink it nice and deep down into the belly. And as we take that lovely big belly breath, just allow the body relax a little bit more. We're going to inhale, press the chest all the way over to the right. We'll bring it through center, all the way over to the left. And as we exhale, we'll tuck the chin, rounding between the shoulders. And we're going to continue drawing those lovely full circles. So we're using the arms as levers here. We're pressing the hands into the legs to draw ourselves a little bit further forward. Maybe press ourselves a little bit further back. A little bit more out to the side. So we're really just working into the joints here, trying to create a little bit of space and energy. And we should start to feel this into the hips as well, particularly if we are in easy cross-legged, and really try to grind those sit bones. Nice deep bend into the elbows, rolling into the shoulders. Allow the head and neck literally fall into the movement. So even allowing the weight of the head bring us a little bit deeper into that circle. And then we're going to meet back at center and seat. We'll reverse the crisscross of the legs, just balancing out those hips. We'll rest the palms and then inhale, press the chest to the left, through center, all the way over to the right. And as we exhale, tuck the chin, again, rounding between the shoulders and continue. So really exaggerate that movement. Again, noticing the breath. So we're softly breathing in and out through the nose. But feel free to sigh that breath out if you feel that you get a little bit more release with that exhale. And again, there's no right or wrong here. Just working into the joints, mobilizing. It could be a really nice pose to do both at the start of the day, after a sleep, but also at the end of the day. So if we've been sitting a lot or if we've stiffened up even after exercise, it's just a really nice way of gently mobilizing. So we're not overstretching it and we're not overstressing anything. And then we're going to meet back at center and seat. So we'll open the palms. We're going to inhale both arms out, reaching up. Interlock fingers, press palms to ceiling. As we exhale, press the palms forward and really stretch between the shoulders. We'll do that twice more. So a nice big stretch as we inhale, take the gaze up. And as we exhale, press forward and release. So we'll do that once more. So arms right back in line with the ears. And then exhale, forward and release. This time we're going to inhale both arms out, reaching up. We'll interlock fingers, press palms to ceiling. As we exhale, we're going to press the palms forward, but once they come in line with the chest, we're going to pause and we're going to press them out a little bit more and see if we can really round into the shoulders, so really stretching between the shoulder blades. We're going to flip the palms to the chest and we'll inhale, draw the palms to the chest. So we're pressing the chest into the hands and we're getting a nice little bit of space into the heart. Exhale, press forward and release. So we're inhaling, palms to chest, bring a little soft arch into the lower back. Exhale, press forward. And continue here with your own breath. So it's like a little cat-cow variation. So we are very much working into the spine here. So I want you to really press back. So we're getting a nice little stretch. Next time we bring the hands to heart. We're going to relax, and then we can rest the palms. From here, we're going to straighten both legs out. Just adjust the sit bones, get nice and comfortable here. Draw the toes to the face, and we're sitting as tall as we can. Draw the right knee in until the foot's in line with the left. We're going to shift the sit bones forward to meet that heel. And then we can cross the right leg over the left. Extend the left arm forward. We'll wrap it around the right leg, hugging it nice and tight into the chest. And if you wish to go deeper, you can bend the left knee, tuck the heel, but only if that right sit bone stays on the ground. We're going to inhale the right arm up, reach. And as we exhale, gently twist to the right. We place the hand on the ground behind us, and we're going to walk the hand around the body, really drawing that right shoulder back, and we're looking over the shoulder. So as we inhale, press the right hand into the ground, length and tall. And as we exhale, gently twist, all the time hugging that right knee in. And if you want to work deeper in the twist, you can always cross the left arm over the chest, bend the elbow, and hook it to the outside of the leg. So again, we're working with our levers here. Keep drawing both shoulders away from the ears. Lengthening on the inhale, releasing, twisting on the exhale. We'll take one more breath. And then inhale gently back through center, little twist to the left, just release, and then back to center again. We're going to straighten the left leg out if it's not there already. We'll draw the right knee toward the armpit, and we're going to place the foot into the left hand, knee into the right, sit nice and tall. See if we can bring the shin a little bit higher, but if it's annoying that hamstring, just drop the foot and we'll work into that hip. So nice, gentle mobilization. Drawing that right knee as far back as we can go, and then drawing the right foot as far across the body as allows. So again, not being afraid of the range here. So the hands are just guiding the movement. We're not forcing the movement, but not being afraid to draw the knee a little bit further back. Draw that right foot a little bit further across the chest. Again, just gently mobilizing into that space. So nothing forced here. And feel free to close down the eyes, so we're not getting too caught up with what the movement or what the range looks like, and more so what it feels like. Relax the breath. We're going to meet back at center, and then we're going to rest the ankle just above or just below the knee. Right hand rests on the inner knee, left hand is on the ball of the foot. Again, we're still sitting nice and tall. As we inhale, we're going to press the knee up into the hand, so we're strongly activating. And as we exhale, just release that knee. So inhale, press up into the hand. Exhale, release. And continue here with your own breath. So we're using the activation to hopefully get a little bit more release. And again, it might only be half a mil. It might not even be noticeable at all. But even just that stimulation of the muscle fibers, engaging and releasing. We can come to stillness here. We're going to bring the hands behind us, fingertips point back, pressing into the ground. We'll open into the heart. And we can stay here, just drawing that right knee toward the ground and working into that right hip. If the ankle is above the knee, we feel like going deeper. We're going to bend the left knee, dragging the heel toward us, but try not to collapse into the shoulders. We might bring the sit bone to the heel, heel to the sit bone. Notice if the foot's kind of tracked off to the right. See if you can bring it back in line with that left knee. And we're inhaling, opening the heart, lengthening the spine. And as we exhale, gently press that right knee forward, or if the leg's straight, toward the ground. Closing down the eyes and just feeling that space. And notice if those sit bones are kind of floated off the ground, make sure they're nice and grounded evenly. As we inhale, lengthening. And as we exhale, feeling the weight of the body melting into that right hip. Again, not forcing the hip, not forcing the knee. So if we're feeling too much on the knee, just straighten that left leg a little bit more. We'll take one more breath. Lovely. And then we can slowly straighten that left leg out. And we'll bring the right leg out to meet it. And again, maybe just adjust the sit bones here, get nice and comfortable. Drawing the left knee in until the foot's in line with the right, and then we'll shift the sit bones forward to meet the heel, crossing the left leg over the right. We're going to extend the right arm forward, wrap it around the left leg, hugging it nice and tight into the chest, and we might bend the right knee, tuck the heel, but only if that left sit bone stays on the ground. We're going to inhale the left arm up, and as we exhale, gently twist to the left as far as we can go, and we place the left hand on the ground behind us. As we inhale, press the hand into the ground, lengthen tall. And as we exhale, gently twist. And again, like on the other side, if you want to go further in your twist, cross the right arm over the chest, bend the elbow, hooking it to the outside of the leg. So again, palm can face the side wall, or we can touch the index finger and thumb together, creating a little energy mudra or energy line or point of focus. Every inhale, lengthening. Every exhale, twisting. Again, really using that belly breath to mobilize the core. We'll take one more breath here. Inhale gently back through center, a little twist to the right, just to release, and then back to center again. And if the right heel's tucked in, we'll straighten the right leg out, drawing the knee toward the armpit, foot rest into the right hand, knee into the left hand, and then again, slowly mobilizing into that left hip. And if that right leg feels a little bit unstable and you need to bend the right knee to get a little bit of a wider base, listening to your own body here. So really just the focus is on getting into that left hip. Doesn't really matter where that right foot is at, once it's not restricting that movement. And again, just notice how the movement feels on this side comparing to the other side. So again, tuning into any little imbalances that might be there. And using the movement itself, see if we can iron out those imbalances, those points of resistance within the body. Nice and strong. We're going to meet back at center. And again, we'll rest the ankle just above or just below the knee if it doesn't quite get there. Right hand is on the ball of the foot, left hand is on the inner knee. Again, we're still sitting nice and tall. Notice already where that knee is at comparing to the opposite side. We're going to inhale, press the knee up into the hand. And as we exhale, release. So inhale, activate. Exhale, release. Continue here with your own breath. So you're using the resistance of the hand. So you are gently pressing that hand into the knee, knee into the hand. But as you exhale, there's no connection. We're just looking for release. Relax the breath. Hopefully that knee is coming down a little bit further. Again, just depending on where those hips are at, but don't force it. We'll do one more. Lovely. We'll bring the hands behind us, fingertips point back, pressing into the ground, opening into the heart, and just gently drawing that left knee toward the ground. If the ankle is above the knee and we wish to go deeper, we can soften the right knee, dragging the heel toward us, maybe bringing the heel towards sit bone toward the heel, but try not to collapse into those shoulders. So really pressing into the ground, opening into the heart, still allowing those sit bones sink into the ground. We're drawing the left toe toward the knees. We're keeping that lower leg active and hopefully helping to protect that left knee joint. Again, if it's too much on the knee, just straighten that right leg out a little bit more. And we're closing down the eyes. And all we're doing here is simply breathing into that left hip. So as we inhale, pressing into the ground, opening into the heart. And as we exhale, press that left knee a little bit further forward. Again, just really feeling that into the left hip. And it mightn't be the most amazing feeling, depending on where those hips are at. We do want to feel a release. There shouldn't be pain, but there might be a little bit of discomfort. So again, just kind of being able to manage the difference between discomfort and pain. So discomfort is something we can breathe into. We're not causing any damage. Pain, we want to back off. One more breath. Lovely. And then slowly, we're going to straighten the right leg out and we'll straighten the left leg out to meal. And from here, we're going to come to lie back on the ground. Just make sure you have your block and strap there beside you within reach in case we need it. Slowly lower ourselves down onto the ground. We're going to straighten the out through both legs. We're really pressing that lower back into the ground. We're going to reach back through the fingertips, pointing through the toes and taking a lovely full body stretch. As we inhale, see if we can stretch the right side of the body a little bit more. So we're almost coming into a little side bend. And then exhale, release. Inhale, stretching a little bit more into the left side. Exhale, release. We'll do that once more. So inhale, really stretching into the right. Exhale, release. Inhale to the left. Exhale, release. And the last one, stretching both sides together.
So again, reaching through fingertips, pointing through toes for 3, for 2, and 1, and relax. We're going to draw the right knee into the chest. We place the right hand on the knee, left hand on the hip. We'll draw a few little circles into that right hip. Either direction, we'll end up doing both. Maybe the fingertips come to the knee and those circles can get a wee bit larger. And if the hip feels stable on its own, you can always bring the right hand to the ground and draw those circles a little bit larger once again. Notice if we're tightening into those chest muscles. See if we can really mat those shoulder blades together on the ground. Whole length of the spine is on the ground, that left hip is grounded, and we're just working those lovely full circles into the right hip. If the hand is on the ground, see if we can really exaggerate those circles. Drawing the knee across the body into the chest, straightening the leg, maybe pressing away through the heel. And the slower we create those circles, the more engagement we're going to get. So you will start to feel the hip muscles fatigue because you know they're working. We're going to reverse those circles, the opposite direction. And again, just noticing how that feels. Relax the breath. Notice if we've been holding it. Slowly, slowly, softly, softly. And then finally, we'll hug the right knee back into the chest, give it a nice little squeeze. Left hand rests on the shin, right arm extends out in line with the shoulder, palm down, and we're going to shift the hip a little bit to the right. Then we'll draw the right leg across the body to the left, coming into a lovely spinal twist. Left hand rests on the outer thigh. That right knee is up in line with the hip. We're looking toward the right fingertips, and that right shoulder is literally glued to the ground. If you find you're not fully in the twist, try shifting those hips ever so slightly to the right, and that might just create a wee bit more space for that twist to happen. So as we inhale, nice, full, deep belly breath. And as we exhale, releasing into our twist. And again, if you want to go a little bit further, if you've been practicing, you can bend the left knee, walk the left foot a little bit further out to the right. Maybe pause here, or maybe reach to catch hold of the front of the foot with the hand, or maybe wrap your strap or band around the foot. But whatever we're at, we'll keep drawing that right shoulder down, keep drawing that right leg across the body. Nice, full, deep belly breaths here for 3, for 2, and 1. Release the grip, extend the arms back out. We'll straighten the left leg, slowly rolling back onto our back. So we're hugging the right knee in. We're going to lift the left leg off the ground, leg is straight, hovering it anywhere between 30-45 degrees off the ground. And then we're going to inhale, lift from the chest. So the head and neck come off the ground, but we're looking up toward the ceiling. So there's no stress in the neck here. We're not restricting our breathing. Shoulders are relaxed. And we're going to switch legs. Really actively pressing through that heel. And continue with your own breath. So not getting too caught up with the count of the breath. Just make sure you're not holding the breath. So you're working with the breath. Lifting from the chest, and we're going to really feel that into the upper core. If we're still feeling it on the neck, try placing the tongue to the top of the mouth to help release those neck muscles. And if it's still too much, feel free to rest the head and neck, working into the middle and lower core, and maybe every few breaths coming back into that upper core. From here, we're going to start to draw those knees outward toward the armpits. So we're getting into our psoas muscle, or a deep hip flexor. And you can even draw those knees beyond the armpit, so nice and wide. Starting to feel that little bit of hip space as we work into that core engagement. So lots of stuff happening with this one. Notice if we're holding the breath. So again, we're working with the breath and we're slowing the movement right down. Nearly there. Next time we draw the left knee in, we're going to pause. We're going to rest the head. We'll rest the right foot down. Left hand is on the knee, right hand is on the hip. And we draw a few little circles into that left hip. Maybe fingertips come to the knee. Those circles get a wee bit fuller. And if the hip feels stable on its own and it doesn't need that left hand, feel free to bring the hand to the ground, but only if the left hip feels stable. So if we find by removing the hand, all of a sudden those hips have stiffened up even more, use that left hand to support and guide the movement. And then over time, maybe removing it. If the hand is on the ground, again, we're trying to incorporate the full length of that left leg into the movement and really exaggerate those circles. Trying to get into every little pocket of that left hip. We're going to reverse those circles, opposite direction, keeping those shoulders relaxed, keeping the spine grounded, keeping that right side of the body grounded. And again, just focusing all energy into the left hip, noticing how it feels comparing to the opposite side. And again, there's very few of us are going to be completely balanced throughout the whole length of the body. The body has a lovely way of compensating. So again, just listening to the imbalances, but not getting too frustrated or caught up with them, but definitely noticing them, seeing if we can paint little patterns or little stories throughout the body, depending where those imbalances are. Okay, hugging that left knee back into the chest. Right hand is on the shin, left arm extends out in line with the shoulder, palm down. We shift the hip a wee bit to the left and then draw the left leg across the body to the right. Looking over the left shoulder this time. Right hand rests on the outer thigh. Left shoulder is grounded. And again, if we find we're not fully in the twist, just shift the hips ever so slightly to the left. So ideally the left hip bone is stacked on top of the right, and both hip bones are centered there in the midline of our mat. So as we inhale, nice full deep belly breath. And as we exhale, sinking into our twist. And if we notice that right foot is kind of floated in no man's land, you can always place a cushion or a block or anything at all really, just to support that leg. So if you want to stay in your twist a little bit longer than what we're doing this morning. Maybe bend the right knee, walk the right foot a little bit further out to the left. Maybe even catch hold of the front of the foot with the hand or with your strap, but keep drawing that left shoulder down. Keep drawing that left leg across the body. Nice, full, deep belly breaths. Almost visualizing stretching the body from the inside out using that full breath. And then gently release the grip, straightening the leg and slowly rolling back onto our backs. We're still hugging the left knee in, and we're going to interlock the fingers around the back of the left hamstring. Inhale, straighten the left leg up toward the ceiling, draw the toes toward the face. Exhale, hug the knee into the chest. Inhale, straighten the left leg up, pointing outward to the left. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, straighten the left leg up, pointing inward to the right. Exhale, knee to chest. And continue with your own breath. You can always bend that right knee and flatten out the foot if you feel you've got a little bit more stability. Otherwise, leg is straight and we're still getting a little release into the front of the right hip. So we're flossing out our sciatic nerve here, working into lots of those muscles surrounding the nerve. And you'll notice, particularly as you point inward and outward with the toes, you might feel a little fuzzy sensation. So again, it shouldn't be pain, but you might be just creating a wee bit of space around that nerve. Get a nice little mobilization into hip, knee and ankle here as well. And again, if it feels too much in the hamstring, if you're feeling it a little bit too much up near the sits bone, just don't straighten the leg fully. And again, just notice how that feels. And then hugging that left knee in, we're going to bend the right knee, place the right foot flat to the ground, and then we're going to straighten the left leg so that the knees are together. Okay, so we're going to work into a little single-legged bridge. Hands are to the ground. See if we can find the back of that right heel with the fingertips or as close as we can. Pressing the right foot into the ground. We're going to gently peel the lower, middle, upper back off the ground. As we lift the hips, we're going to walk the shoulder blades together underneath the upper back. Lifting the hips a little bit more, see if we can draw the belly toward the heart center. So really engaging with the core. We're going to inhale up. And as we exhale, gently lower the hips, hovering them just off the ground. But keep that leg straight. Inhale, slowly lift as high as we can go. Exhale, slowly lower. We'll do that 4 more times. If you want to work the hamstring a little bit more again, you can always try pressing that right heel a little bit more into the ground. So almost floating the toes off the ground And you're going to feel that a lot deeper in the hamstring. But again, option only. Last two. Last one. And slowly release all the way down to the ground, drawing that left knee into the chest. And then we'll release the left foot down to meet right, hugging the right knee into the chest. So we're going to straighten out through the left leg, interlock fingers around the back of the right hamstring. So again, left leg can be straight or knee can be bent. We're going to inhale, straighten the right leg up, drawing the toes toward the face. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, straighten the right leg up, pointing outward to the right. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, straighten the leg up, pointing inward to the left. Exhale, knee to chest. Continuing here with your own breath. Again, pointing inward, outward, toe to knee. So you have 3 directions here. We're working into that ankle. And we'll start to feel that into those lower leg muscles as well, tibialis, calf. Relax the breath, melting those shoulder blades together on the ground. And again, for our hamstring range, we're looking for an angle of anywhere between 80 and 90 degrees back of the leg to the ground, but don't force it. So sometimes if the hips are really tight, those hamstrings might already be over lengthened or overstretched, particularly if we're feeling it up near the insertion point near the sit bone. So if we are feeling it there, probably not straighten the leg fully, or just bring the angle a little bit closer to the ground. And you can always use a strap behind the hamstring here if interlocking the fingers is inaccessible. Last one. Hugging the right knee in. We're going to bend the left knee, place the left foot flat to the ground, and then we'll straighten out that right leg. Knees are together here. We're pressing through that right heel. Hands are to the ground. See if we can find the back of that left heel with the fingertips. Pressing that left foot strongly into the ground. We're going to gently peel the lower, middle, upper back off the ground, walking those shoulder blades together, pressing hands, arms, shoulders, foot into the ground. Again, if this is too much, feel free to come into your traditional bridge with both feet on the ground. We're going to inhale, lift, and as we exhale, gently lower the hips, hovering them just off the ground. Inhale really slowly up. Exhale really slowly lower. We'll do that 4 more times. And again, in your own practice, you can do this a lot more, particularly if you're looking to develop a bit more hamstring, glute, posterior chain strength. Again, maybe driving that left heel into the ground if we want to focus in a little bit more on those hamstrings. Or we can come up onto the ball of the foot if we want to work into the calves a little bit more. So lots of options within the movement. We'll take 1 more wherever we are. And slowly release all the way down to the ground, bringing that right foot down to meet left. We're going to bring the feet the width of the mat apart, so nice and wide. Allow the knees to fall to touch or as close as. We're going to open the arms into our cactus arms. Maybe walk those shoulder blades together. See if we can connect the whole length of the spine to the ground. Make sure the hands are on the ground. So if it means bringing those hands a little bit wider until they're supported, we're going to inhale here. And as we exhale, drop the knees over to the right as we look over the left shoulder. Inhale back through center. Exhale, knees drop to the left as we look over the right shoulder. Continuing here with your own breath, gently side to side, keeping the shoulders grounded, but really try to press those knees as close to the ground as we possibly can. So we're mobilizing into the hips. As we press the knees to the ground, we're also getting a nice little release into the quads and the ITV. And again, utilizing that lovely full belly breath. Making sure the feet are wide enough apart so the opposite knee has space to fall behind the foot, so we're not having to move those feet at all. And then finally, we're going to meet back at center. Lovely. We're going to draw the knees toward the armpit. So hips are open here, nice and relaxed. Hands are rested on the shins. Lower back is supported. We're going to inhale, press the shins into the hands. And as we exhale, allow those hips open. So we're inhaling, pressing up, and we're exhaling, release. And you can continue here with your own breath. If you wish to come into your full happy baby, soles of the feet parallel to the ceiling, catching hold of calves, shins, maybe ankles, maybe inner arches of the feet, or we can interlock middle and index finger around the big toes. But wherever we are, just make sure that lower back feels absolutely solid on the ground, so we're not rocking and rolling. We're going to inhale, press up. And as we exhale, draw down. So it's an upward downward movement as opposed to inward outward, keeping those knees nice and wide outside the line of the body. And again, if it's too much on the hamstrings, maybe just bring that grip a little bit closer back toward the knees so we can still work a nice little bit of hip space without stressing out those hamstring muscles. Relax the breath, relax the shoulders, and again, just enjoying that space for what it is, not enforced. One more breath. Lovely. And we're going to draw those knees into the chest. We'll crisscross the ankles. Options to make your way anyway to seat, or you can rock and roll just the once, bringing ourselves into a nice strong seat, front of the mat. We're going to bring the hands forward out in front. We'll gently shift the body weight forward to step back onto the knees, and we'll find ourselves in a lovely strong tabletop. Center the mat, shoulders over elbows over wrists, elbow creases face forward, knees are hip width apart. Pressing into the ground, really drawing that belly button in. We're going to inhale, take the gaze forward and up as we arch the spine. Exhale, press into the ground, curl through the spine to the gaze to the belly. Inhale, gaze goes forward and up, arching the spine. Exhale, press into the ground, curl through the spine, tuck the chin to the chest, and continue with your own breath. And again, really exaggerate that movement. Feel free to close the eyes down, just really engage with the movement. So we're visualizing the spine like a string of beads, and we're trying to draw those beads as far away from each other as we can. So we're really looking for space, energy, movement. Even bringing your focus to different parts of the spine. So noticing how the lower back feels. See if we can get a little bit more movement. Moving it into the middle spine. Up between the shoulders, into the neck. So just noticing if we're working the whole length of the spine, or is that movement being restricted in one part? And again, it can just bring a little focus to maybe what we need to do even outside of the class this morning. Relax the breath. Feel free to sigh it out and let it go. And then we meet back in our tabletop. From here, we're going to straighten the right leg, landing the ball of the foot to the ground, and just gently press through the heel. So again, not overstretching here, just a nice little extension for 3, for 2, and 1. We're going to drop the right heel down. We'll swivel on the left knee, bring the left foot behind us. Left hand is on the ground, right hand now comes to the hip. We're pressing the hips forward, we're drawing the shoulder back. And notice if we're still collapsing into the front of the body, just coming up onto the fingertips, maybe up onto your blocks, so we can really feel that space into the front of the body. Inhale the right arm up. And as we exhale, we're going to reach the right arm all the way overhead to the front of the room, bringing that arm right back in line with the ear. So notice if we're reaching out to the right, see if we can really press the hip forward and draw that right shoulder back. And if you want to challenge the balance, we can find the right middle finger and we're going to follow it with the gaze. That left toe can be tucked or untucked. We're going to inhale, right knee, right elbow into touch. And then exhale, extend it out, reaching through fingertips, pressing through heel. Inhale, knee, elbow in. Exhale, extend it out. Continue with your own breath. So that left shoulder is stacked over elbow and wrist. Maybe following that extended finger with the gaze. We're looking for space into the right and into the front of the body. So really exaggerating as we reach. Maybe even reaching the right arm and foot behind us if we need a little bit more space into the front of that right hip. So again, any variation. We're trying not to touch the foot down, so we're really challenging those hip stabilizing muscles. But if we do need to touch down, just ever so lightly for like a split second. Last one. We'll meet an extension, arm overhead, we'll rest the foot down. We're going to bring the right hand to the ground, swivel. And then we'll bring that right knee back into meet left. Readjusting inner tabletop. We're going to step back onto the ball of the left foot, gently pressing through the heel for 3, for 2, and 1. Drop the left heel down. We'll swivel on the right knee, bring the right foot behind us. Right hand is on the ground, left hand is on the hip. See if we can really press the outer blade of that left foot into the ground. We're pressing the left hip forward, we're drawing the left shoulder back. We're going to inhale, left arm up. And as we exhale, reach the left arm all the way to the front of the room. Active through that arm. Arm is back in line with the ear. And we're really rotating the body open here. Inhale, knee to elbow in. Exhale, lengthen it out. Again, maybe following that left middle finger with the gaze. If you want to challenge the balance by having a moving point of focus, otherwise gaze is just out to the left. Lower it right down. And again, really exaggerate that extension. Maybe reaching the arm and foot behind us to get a little bit more space into the front of the left hip. And a little bit more engagement into the posterior of the body. Nice and strong in that right arm. So notice if we're collapsing into that elbow. Keep pressing the ground away. Working with the breath. Again, notice if we're holding it. Last one. When we meet an extension, arm overhead, we rest the foot down, bring the left hand back to meet right, swivel on the right knee, and then bringing ourselves back into our tabletop. Lovely. We'll walk the hands forward out in front. We're going to tuck both toes under and just gently sit back toward the heels, resting the forehead to the ground or to a block, but keep the arms active here. Okay, so elbows are off the ground. We're pressing the heels of the hands into the ground and trying to draw those sit bones back a little bit further. With the toes tucked under, maybe just wriggling through the toes and getting a nice little bit of stretch into the arches of the feet. A little stimulation of the muscles. Lovely. So staying here, we're looking back between the feet. We're going to press the hands and feet into the ground. Hover the knees and we'll press those hips as high as we can toward the ceiling. Gently lowering the heels down toward the ground, but don't force them. So feet are about hip width distance, maybe a little bit wider apart. As we press the ground away, try to sink the chest a little bit closer toward the mat. Relax the head, relax the neck. And again, we're drawing the heels down, but not forcing them down. And we're just going to gently paddle out the feet. More so noticing if one side goes a little bit easier than the other. And again, your heels might go all the way, so don't feel you have to stop. Just noticing how it feels. So it should feel like a nice sense of release, not an overstretch. Softly, softly, we're going to look forward between the hands, gently walk away to the front of the mat. We're going to bring the feet wider than the width of the mat apart, so as wide as we need, that we can touch the ground in line with the toes, or we can touch a block, a bolster, a chair, whatever it takes. We want to keep those legs nice and straight and just dropping the weight back into the heels and the hips. So we should be able to float the toes off the ground. So again, use an object to touch if you can't touch the ground. Left hand stays grounded in line with the toes. We're going to inhale the right arm up and open the heart, gaze follows up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left arm up and open the heart, gaze follows. Exhale, release. Continue with your own breath. So that hand that's on the ground or on the block, we're pressing it into the ground, so it's acting as a nice little bit of leverage to draw ourselves a little bit deeper into that twist. Each movement, see if we can flow it a little bit more. So we're trying to get rid of any rigidity or any resistance, almost falling into our folds. Even feel free to sigh the breath out as you exhale into that fold. And just noticing how that feels. So we should be getting a nice little release on the inner hip, depending on which arm is in the air. Again, feel free to sigh that breath. We'll take one more, both sides. Last one. Meeting in a nice relaxed forward fold. Just let everything hang out here, head, neck, arms, shoulders release. Take a nice deep breath in. Sigh it out, let it go. And then gently tuck the chin, slowly, little by little, we roll our way all the way up to stand. Head comes up last. And then we can heel toe those feet toward each other. Feel free to take a little drink here if you wish. We're going to work a little bit into our hips before our final flow. So when you're ready, we're going to meet at the front of the mat, feet nicely grounded, about hip width distance apart. Hands to heart, shoulders relaxed. Finding that breath and sending it nice and deep down through the body. We'll inhale here. And as we exhale, stepping the right foot back to lunge, we bring the left foot parallel. So we're facing the side of the room. And then we're going to splay those feet out at about 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, but that might change. We're going to inhale here. And as we exhale, we're going to bend into the right knee. But as we do so, you want to check that you can see the right big toe inside the knee so that the knee isn't collapsing inwards. So really strong in the hips here. Inhale through center. Exhale, bending into the left. Again, we want to see that left big toe inside the knee. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Maybe going a little bit deeper. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Continue with your own breath. And again, each time we bend, so we're not bouncing into the joints. It's a lovely, strong, controlled movement, but we might sink a little bit deeper. Keep the spine long, but don't be afraid to lean into that bend. Feeling that into the lower legs. Into tibialis, lovely little bit of work here into our dorsiflexion. Maybe using those hands out front for balance and getting a little bit closer toward the ground. Again, this is all optional, so just go into where it feels good for you. We might even start to touch the ground if it feels good. But try not to bend, try not to collapse into the body here. So if we are touching the ground, we're still maintaining that length in the spine, that strength in the core. Again, maybe getting a little bit deeper into those hips, but this is all option only. Finally, we're going to meet back at center. This time we're going to bend both knees together. So we're coming into a little goddess squat, but just notice that the knees are collapsing inward. See if we can engage with those hips so that the knees are working their way outward and we're really strong. We should be able to see those inner feet. Hands come to heart. Finding that point out in front to focus our gaze. Notice if we're overarching into that lower back. See if we can draw the belly button in. So we're kind of tilting the pelvis forward. Inhale, straighten the legs, arms together overhead, palms together, gaze goes up. Exhale, hands to heart as we bend and lower into our squat. Inhale, lengthen, reach and rise, a nice big circle. Exhale, hands to heart, squat. Continue here with your own breath and only squatting as deep as feels good for your knees and your hips. So just getting a little bit of depth here, not forcing it. As we inhale up, those arms are right back in line with the ears. So we're really engaging with those shoulders, finding a little bit of extra heart space here. Again, maybe sinking a little bit deeper, maybe reaching a little bit higher. So just testing your own range here. Keeping it nice and active, nice and flowy. We'll take one last reach. And we're going to meet in our squat. Again, option to stay here. Maybe place the hands on a chair, the wall, a table out front. Maybe sink a little bit deeper. Maybe bring the hands to the ground. Or again, a chair, a step, a stool, whatever it is. And just sinking those sit bones back. If we feel like going a little bit further again, walking those heels toward each other until there's about a foot between the heels. And then gently sinking those sit bones back. And again, you might rock into the hips here, just finding that sweet spot. We might keep the hands out front. We might bring the hands to heart and use those upper arms to really open into the hip space. And again, if the heels are floated off the ground, not forcing them, maybe even rolling up a little bit of your mat so that you can actually allow those heels release down onto something, use little wedges. And then maybe over time those heels come down or maybe not. So again, not forcing it. Once we're feeling that lovely space into the hips, anything in those lower legs is a bonus.
And we're just going to sink and breathe into this space here for 3, for 2, and 1. Placing the hands out front wherever we are. We're going to shift the body into the hands, pressing into the ground. And then gently, we'll tuck the chin, slowly rolling our way all the way up to stand. Head comes up last. And we can meet at the front of the mat. So we've got one last little flow to finish out our practice this morning. So meeting at the front, feet nicely grounded, hip width distance apart, hands to heart, shoulders relaxed. We'll inhale both arms out, reaching up, palms together. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, gaze forward, hands to shins. Exhale, fold. Stepping right foot back to lunge, right hand's grounded. We'll inhale the left arm up and open the heart, gaze follows up. Exhale, left hand to the ground. Dropping right heel down, we'll engage the core, coming up into our warrior. Extend the arms, palms face down. We're bending into that left knee. Left knee, left foot point forward. We're pressing the outer blade of that right foot into the ground. Relax the shoulders. Following that left middle finger, we're going to inhale, straighten the left leg, arms together overhead, palms together, gazes up. Exhale, bend the left knee, warrior lunge. Inhale, lengthen, reach and rise. Exhale, warrior lunge. Last one, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, warrior. We'll inhale, straighten the left leg, and as we exhale, reach the fingertips far forward. Bring the back of the hand to the inner leg. Extend the right arm up. We're pressing the right hip forward, drawing the shoulder back, looking up toward those fingertips. We're reaching for 3, for 2, and 1. Stay here. Inhale, right arm all the way overhead, reach. And as we exhale, we'll bring that right hand down to meet left. Inhale, both arms together all the way back up. And as we exhale, bend the left knee, open the arms, warrior lunge. Cartwheel both hands down either side of the foot, ball of the right. We're going to shift the body weight forward to lift the right foot up to meet left, and then exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center, hands extended up, palms together. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, gaze forward, hands to shins. Exhale, fold. We'll step the left foot back to lunge, left hand's grounded. We'll inhale the right arm up and open the heart, gaze follows. Exhale, right hand to the ground. Dropping left heel down, engage the core up into warrior. Extend the arms, palms face down. We're bending into the right knee, drawing those inner thighs toward each other. We're going to find the right middle finger and follow it. Inhale, straighten the right leg, arms together overhead, gazes up. Exhale, bend the right knee, warrior lunge. Inhale, lengthen, reach and rise. Exhale, warrior lunge. Last one, nice and strong in those legs and hips. Meeting in our warrior, we're going to inhale, straighten the right leg, keep it straight. As we exhale, reach those fingertips forward. Bring the back of the hand to the inner leg, extend the left arm up. So both legs are straight. We're pressing that right hand into the leg. See if we can press that left hip forward a little bit more. Looking up as we reach to the ceiling, reach to the ground for 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale, left arm all the way overhead, reach. And as we exhale, left hand comes down to meet right. Inhale, both arms together all the way back up. And as we exhale, bend the right knee, open the arms, warrior lunge. Cartwheeling both hands down either side of the foot, ball of the left. We'll shift the body weight forward to pick the left foot up to meet right. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center, hands extended up, palms together. Exhale, hands to heart. Lovely. We're going to repeat that one more flow before we make it to the ground. Meeting at the front, feet nicely grounded, hip width distance apart. We're really finding all corners of our feet into the mat. So really rooting our foundations. Hands come to heart, shoulders relax. We'll inhale both arms out, reaching up, palms together. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, gaze forward, hands to shin.
Exhale, fold. Stepping right foot back to lunge, right hand's grounded. We'll inhale the left arm up and open the heart, gaze follows. Exhale, left hand to the ground. Dropping right heel down, engage the core. Up into warrior, extend the arms, palms face down. We're bending into the left knee. Left knee, left foot point forward. We'll inhale, straighten the left leg. Arms together overhead, look up. Exhale, bend the left knee. Warrior lunge. 2 more. Keep pressing the back of that right foot into the ground. So really ruching through our feet here. Last one. Finding our warrior, we're going to inhale, straighten the leg, and as we exhale, reach the fingertips forward. Back of the hand to the inner leg. Extend the right arm up for 3. Pressing those hips forward for 2. And 1. Inhale, right arm all the way overhead. And as we exhale, right hand down to meet left. Inhale, both arms together all the way back up. And as we exhale, bend the left knee, open the arms, warrior. Cartwheeling both hands down either side of the foot. Ball of the right, we'll shift the body weight forward to lift the right foot up to meet left. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center, hands extended up, palms together. Last side, exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, gaze forward, hands to shins, nice flat back. Exhale, fold. Stepping, left foot back to lunge, left hand's grounded. We'll inhale the right arm up and open the heart, gaze follows. Exhale, right hand to the ground. Dropping left heel down, engage the core up into warrior. Extend the arms, palms face down, and we're softening into that right knee, right foot point forward. Inhale, straighten the right leg, arms together overhead, look up. Exhale, bend the right knee, warrior lunge. 2 more. Inhale, lengthen, reach and rise. Exhale, warrior. Last one. Meeting in warrior. We're going to inhale, straighten the right leg. Keep it straight as we exhale, reach those fingertips forward. Bring the back of the hand to the inner leg. Extend the left arm up. Pressing the hip forward. Trying to make the body as narrow as we can. Almost like we're between 2 panes of glass. For 3. For 2. And 1. Inhale, left arm all the way overhead. Reach. And as we exhale, left hand comes down to meet right. Inhale, both arms together all the way back up. And as we exhale, bend the right knee, open the arms, warrior. Cartwheeling both hands down either side of the foot, coming onto the ball of the left. This time we'll step the right foot back to meet left, lift the hips and walk it out. Nice and easy, inner downward dog. One last time. Relax the head, relax the neck, maybe bring a little swagger into our walk as we rock those hips side to side. Maybe looking out underneath opposite armpits. Again, whatever feels good here for your body. Again, not forcing the heels down, but just notice if one goes a little bit easier than the other. And then finally, coming to stillness here, we're going to gently release down onto the knees. Untuck the toes and we'll walk the hands back toward the knees until we're sitting back up onto the heels. So we have options here to finish our practice either in our wide-legged child's pose or in our frog pose. So I'm just going to turn my mat. You can see what I'm up to here. So we're going to come to the longer edge of our mat and just bring those knees nice and wide. Now, if you're finding it uncomfortable at the front of your ankles or your feet, you can always get a little towel and just cushion underneath. Likewise, our face is going to be out front in a moment. So if you do want to have a little towel or a cushion out there or a block, by all means, place it there now. So again, for our wide-legged child's pose, it could be as simple as just keeping the sit bones down and just making a little cushion with our hands and relaxing into the pose. If you want to come a little bit deeper into your frog pose, we're going to walk the hands forward until the hips are in line with the knees. And at this stage, we might even draw those knees a little bit further apart. And then slowly coming down onto the forearms. So we're keeping the hips high in this case, as opposed to sitting back onto the heels. And maybe just rocking the hips a little bit forward, a little bit back until we feel that release. And then when we feel that release, then we might walk the hands forward a little bit more, sinking the belly and the chest toward the ground, or maybe what sometimes I find nice is just to place one hand or one fist on top of the other and rest the forehead here. Or we can use a block, we can use a bolster, we can use a cushion, whatever we have. Just make sure the head and neck are supported. Maybe even bend the elbows and place the head into the hands so that we can just totally relax here. So that's our frog pose. If you want to come into your full expression of frog pose, bringing those lower legs out. So they're little froggy legs. So we've got 90-degree angles at the knees and at the ankles. But just make sure the feet are on the ground. If they're not, just bring them a wee bit closer until they are. And even at this point, just for one last little test, shifting the hips forward and back very slowly until we find that sweet spot release. And then we're going to rest here for just over a minute. So we're not going super deep this morning, but just enough to get a little bit deeper into the fascia. So wherever we are, just see if we can allow ourselves release and sink into the pose. So if we're finding that we're holding the pose or we're tensing into the pose, just back out of the pose a little bit until you feel more of a release, and then just breathing into that release. And then maybe over time, you might end up coming back to where you were and where you were feeling that tension, only now there's no tension. But try not to start in tension. So think about releasing and breathing into the pose as opposed to holding the pose. Closing down the eyes if they're not closed already. And just coming to that lovely full belly breath. So if nothing else, just focusing in on that breath. As we inhale, really filling the full torso with the breath, getting right down deep into the belly. And as you exhale, feel free to sigh it out, release and let it go. And again, we're about halfway there. So again, not super long this morning, but just really feeling that sense of release. And you can stay here a little bit longer if you wish. From a physical level, we're probably not going to get much more of a benefit, but definitely from a kind of therapeutic or restorative perspective, we can get a lot more release and relief from this type of pose. It's a very grounding pose. Again, the more points of contact to the earth, the more grounded we can become. That's why lying in our Savasana can be one of our favorite poses, just to really allow ourselves disconnect from what's going on outside and just reconnect to what's going on inside. But again, just using that breath to access a little bit more space within the hips. We're breathing into that space here for 3. For 2. And 1. And just if you have come into your full frog, I'm going to invite you to soften the knees and bring the feet a wee bit closer, just so it's not as intense. And then for everybody, we're going to tuck the chin, slowly come up onto the forearms. And then we're going to try to transfer the weight of the body forward into the forearms so it's no longer so intense into the hips. And then we can start to walk those knees a little bit closer until we can at least get the big toes to touch. And then when we're there, slowly we're going to walk the hands back toward the body until we're sitting back up onto the heels. And just take a moment here, allowing those hips reset. And again, particularly if we've gone quite deep, really just allowing that happen. And then when you feel good, we're going to find ourselves back into any comfortable seat that feels good for you to finish our practice. So again, resetting, reconnecting. And then when you're ready, just finding that breath, sending it nice and deep down into the belly. We're going to open the palms to receive a little bit of energy for the days ahead. And when you're ready, we'll inhale both arms out, reaching up. Interlock fingers, press palms to seal. And as we exhale, press the palms forward, release the breath, sigh it out and let it go. We'll do that twice more. Inhale. And release. Last one. Gently bring the hands to heart, press the palms together, close down the eyes, and just thank yourself for creating a wee bit of space in your morning to come to the mat, to look after yourself, to create some good energy, strength and release, and hopefully take that with you into the day
and into the rest of the week ahead. Thank you for sharing your practice and your energy with me. Namaste.